Yeah, I love that. Okay, Ashton, how do I be the best lead generator in the world? How do I master lead gen?
Well, I read this somewhere, and if you have fun while you're doing something, you're more likely to actually stick with it. So I love having fun doing this job. I think it's really sad to me sometimes when I talk to people and they hate it and they dread doing lead gen. But the way that I get into it, it's like basically you're watching a new episode of TV every day, right? Like you have no idea what's going to happen on the end of the call. So one, make it fun. Like this should be a fun job because you get to do different things in every single way. Like you can call different sources, you can talk to different people, and everyone's story is so different. So instead of looking at it as like a commission piece of what you're calling for, look at them as real people, because that's when it turns in away from the transaction side to actually enjoying your career of real estate. So it's a lot of mindset. And one of the things that I've recognized this last year in my life is the community around us is relatively small, because although it's the most important piece, it becomes kind of secondary to the people that are fires, the transaction side of real estate. But lead gen really should be fun. And so I'd like the fact that Emily has this huge community. I love the community that I have as well. It's nice to be able to have people that are doing lead gen all the time so that you can talk through the problems. So I was hoping out of this call that everyone understands that you all are lead generating. Like, let's lean on each other. Like, have fun. If you have a bad day, have a person that you can call and talk them through it, because sometimes we just need a reality check. Could we actually help the person that just bit your head off? Or was it just a person that we're not going to be able to help? Because that person that bit your head off could delay from calling tomorrow, which delays your whole life plans and goals. And instead of that, if you can call me and say, like, hey, I had a really bad call, this is what happened, we can joke and laugh about it where it won't affect your future versus you taking that energy into your next session. So find a person that you can have fun with and talk through the lead gen. Emily was one of my people for a very long time on these, where I would call her and tell her what was wrong because I needed her to bring me to reality, and you can't help everybody. So that's one thing. And the reality is lead gen is consistency over intensity every single time. I understand that everyone could do a bold 100 every single day, which is amazing and awesome because the muscle is great to have. That being said, if you don't have the ability or the time in your calendar to do that, do it consistently every single day. And you can do it in a ton of different ways. If you guys are social media people, you can do it on Instagram, you can do it on Facebook, get on different groups and like focus on the real estate aspect of your life and solve people's problems. And that's how you can consistently do it as well. Because if you're always thinking with real estate in mind, what you focus on expands. We all know the law, and you're able to actually see it become fruitful in your life. It's so great to see the opportunities in it. The other part I say that's so crucial is our connection piece right now, guys. We are sometimes really focused on the heavy quota that we require of everyone, and I know that we have a lot of dials and a lot of contacts that we have to have, but in reality, the connections are the most important piece of this. And if you're just looking at the calls as a task list, it can become overwhelming, and it also stops being fun. So make sure that you focus on the positive connections. And I want to tell a quick short story. I have an ISA that worked for me a couple years ago, and she had a baby recently, and she texted me on Sunday and said that they were thinking about upgrading. I know their financial position. They just purchased this house 2 years ago, and I know where they're at in their life, and I kind of wanted to talk her through it. So we talked through what it would look like, and we talked through that they also were thinking about getting another job. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to run through the numbers, talk to the lender, see what this looks like. She messaged me today and said, hey, priority wise, we need to do job, car, and then we can do house next year. Like we're not in the ability to do it right now. Why would I not want that for my clients as well? Why do I want to push my clients faster than I would push my sphere of influence? That's the thing. Like, we sometimes do not listen to people's stories, and we are so focused on getting them to do what we want now versus focusing on what's best for them. She's going to move and she's going to use me. It's fine. Like, it's all going to work out great. That being said, I'm focusing on what's important for her, not what's important to me, because I know I can go find more leads. I can go find more motivated people. I'm not focusing on changing her goals. I'm focusing on what's best for her. And then I know how to get to more goals of my own financial side by focusing on lead generation every single day. So I say that to say, get your mindset right. Focus on 2025. How do I make 2025 so amazing? It's by having great conversations this year understanding what people are doing, putting those notes in your database so you don't lose them, and then setting up an appropriate follow-up plan based on what they tell you. Everyone's stories are different, but some of them you can solve now, and some of them we can't solve until a timeline happens. So don't force it on those people. Focus on the motivated that can do something immediately. So that's kind of my, little soapbox that I'll jump on for lead gen. So
Yeah, I love that. So what I heard was make it fun. So whatever you need to do, I would play really loud music for everyone in the office and just be really silly ahead of getting into lead gen, right? If I saw energy, I'd make them stand up or do jumping jacks or shout that they're a badass, like all sorts of stuff, guys. You like you gotta
smile,
you
smile,
have
smile.
fun. Yeah, I'd make them take laps around the office. I'd be like, "Go walk a lap," right? Like, "Go take a lap." So, like, just have fun, get your energy up, stand up, if you need to, if you start feeling sluggish or whatever, but make it fun. Make it about the people, right? Real estate is relationships. If you don't like connecting with people, you should not be in real estate. That is a hard fact. So, make it about the people, hear their stories, connect with them, and connection leads to conversion. And the other thing is like just make sure that you're pre-qualifying so you're not wasting your time, or if you're an ISA, you're not wasting your agent's time. Like the biggest things that I see between agents and ISAs is what's a good appointment and what's not a good appointment, right? Like you guys know what I'm talking about. And so that's the biggest thing is like, would you go on this appointment? If you believe that you would go on this appointment and you could convert the client, set it. If you're like, I don't know, like set it as a value add. You can still put an agent in front of it, right? Like you can, or like whatever, but also even for yourself, if you're not 100% sure that they're 100% sure, set a Zoom appointment for yourself as an agent. Like, let's be efficient with our time, um, especially in this market. So, um, Ashton, I want to go through just a couple objections and then we're going to move on to Q&A. So we'll make this really quick. Don't worry, guys. You're going to get the templates, dialogues, and I'm going to have you guys put in the chat like things that you want, so I can make sure to get that compiled for you and you can get it. Go ahead and type in the chat. What's the number one objection that you're hearing right now? What's the number one objection? What's preventing people from moving? And I also just want to say that if you're focused on listings, that will solve a lot of your problems on the buy side with the unmotivated, right? Okay. Interest rates. Okay, cool. All right, interest rates. Ashton, if somebody says interest rates, what would you say?
Can anyone clarify, is it buy side? Are we focused
Yes.
buy side or list side? It's focused buy
Let's
side.
just
Okay.
say that, yeah, let's say like I'm a like both, because I'm a seller
Okay.
and why would I move if I'm at a 4% interest rate, but we're a buyer, right? Hey, I want to wait till rates come down. So
Yeah,
for
absolutely. So, and can I clarify one thing really quick? I'm looking for external or internal circumstances as the objections, guys. It's because listen for them. There's two different things and we can control one of them. So, Emily, I totally hear that you're a little bit concerned about the interest rates and that's why you're waiting to make a move. Do you mind if I ask, are you waiting for a certain percentage? Are you concerned about a different rate? Like, could you explain a little bit more about what that means to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting at a 4% right now, and I don't want to play close to 7% interest. I mean, I just financially, we're upgrading, and I just don't think that that's going to work for us. So we're going to wait until the rates go down. I think they're going to go down. We'll see how this election goes.
Oh, absolutely. And that's actually funny because it's not even the first time I've heard that today. I feel a lot of people are kind of waiting on in the market to see what's going to happen. And have you thought a little bit forward? So if the rates did drop, were you thinking that you'd want to make a move at that time, or were you waiting until the election? Because you did say 2 time periods. So what would be the real reason you'd want to wait?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if the rates dropped, then we would definitely be ready before or after, but I think the election will impact whether they drop depending on who gets in office.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is we buy and sell in the same market. So I do want to make sure that I go through all the options. So this upgrade, is this been a long-term plan? Have you guys just started thinking about it? Can you how long were you thinking about making this move?
Yeah, we've outgrown our house for the last few years. I mean, we've got two kids sharing a bedroom. We really need to separate the bedrooms. But we just haven't been able to afford it. I mean, we were looking in 2020 when everything went crazy, and we just we got beat out every time. So we decided
Yeah.
to wait, and then the rates happened, and so.
And I know that this isn't something that you maybe thought about, but it is actually a little bit of a gift of the market that you're in right now, because if the rates did drop, do you believe that the same thing would happen again, where more buyers would get out of the waiting period and jump into the market?
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that.
Okay. So, and the one reason I would say we should talk about this now, and obviously I don't want to force you guys to making a move that you wouldn't feel comfortable with, but what I'm curious about is if we look at the numbers on your place and what we can do in the price range that you need to move up into and the space that you guys are at, this would be purely a discovery session to see if we are in the right market that can happen. Because my concern is if I don't push you right now, what could happen is if the rates do drop, you guys might be in the exact same inventory problem that you were in before, where you're going to get beat out, or it's going to be too high on the cash to close that you won't actually be able to make the move then either. So that's why I want to go ahead and encourage us to go ahead and meet and see if we can make those numbers make sense. Now, there's no obligation, but what we can do is we can look at what equity you have in the house, what it would sell at, the timeline of what that would look like, and then what we could purchase in the next home. Because have you guys refinanced before in this house? Did you guys
No.
refinance it when the rates kept dropping? Okay. So refinancing though is not a terrible process. It's actually relatively easy. I know some great lenders too that are doing some really great programs on being able to refinance in the future. So we can talk about that as well so that that way we could save you the money. But if we can find you the inventory now, I would hate for you to wait, because I'm worried that if I don't get you into a meeting immediately to see if the numbers make sense, we're not going to be able to be in a position to purchase in the next market anyways. So what's a good time for us to get together and just go through those numbers and see what that looks like for you?
Okay, so let's time out. So, did you guys just hear how she just walked through facts trump feelings? All she just did was get really clear that they don't actually know if they can make the decision. They're not financially clear, right? Did you guys hear that? Or I was not financially clear, right? Okay, so I use the projection around the election, around interest rates, right? Those are all just, in my opinion, fluff, right? And that's just because the real thing is financially, is it a good decision? Yes or no? Well, we won't know that until we do the math.
And if you can, this is why I love doing the listing side of the business, because if you know of off-market opportunities, you probably can match make the people that are upgrading right now and comfort them more. Like that's the thing. There's so many listings that are holding off right now trying to see if the economy is going to get better for them. Those are the people that you can match make so easily in your database, but you got to get in front of them, because there are a lot of people right now that are in the position Emily is saying where they don't know. They're confused. They're hearing a lot on the media, and we need to be a sound of reason. And I do not push, right? That was a take back close that entire time, because I don't know if it's going to work. Because I don't want these people to get into a position that they financially wouldn't make sense. Like my friend, like I'm not going to push her to buy a house right now when she needs to upgrade and she needs to get a car and she needs to get a better job. I'm not going to force her to buy a home. I'm not going to force my clients to upgrade right now if it's not the right move for them. That's why I will consistently get appointments, because they can feel that versus it being like, I'm pushing for the appointment and I don't care about your feelings. I'm doing it as let's do it as an informational call, an informational appointment. And yes, often the numbers actually can make sense, guys. So don't be scared that you're setting them up to not succeed. It's just that they haven't taken the time to break them down and understand the full picture. It does make more sense to refinance. They do have inventory options right now. They also can negotiate a lot off of sales prices on listings in the holding markets. So push, guys, push right now. Like think about all the people that if you were in the market before 2020 that we didn't push when the interest rates were at 3%. And some of them couldn't purchase. Remind yourself of that feeling, because now they couldn't purchase now because they can't afford it. That's what you guys should come with these calls, because it's 100% the exact same information now.
I love that. Yeah, so true. Yep, don't want to have FOMO. Okay,
No,
question.
no FOMO.